You think the world respects truth? It doesn't. It rewards performance. You believe your work will speak for you, that your character, your good intentions will shine through? They won't, because in this world, ruled by illusion, power doesn't go to the most talented. It goes to the most convincing. You may be brilliant. You may be kind. You may even be right. But if you don't act like the best, you'll be treated like the worst, laughed at, dismissed, outrun by cowards with louder voices. Let me ask you something, not as a friend, not as a coach, as a strategist. When you walk into a room, do people feel your presence? Or do they forget you were even there? Because here's the truth no one wants to hear. If you're not shaping the room, you're being shaped by it. If you're not asserting power, you're submitting. How did Adolf Hitler rise? He didn't begin with armies. He began with assumption, the calculated posture of a man destined to command. Long before he had followers, he acted like a messiah. He weaponized presence. And the crowd followed. You think that's extreme? Good, because power is extreme, and you're still hoping fairness will save you. You've been trained to stay quiet, to be polite, to wait. But every second you wait, someone bolder, someone dumber, someone faker, someone louder walks past you and takes what you're hoping to earn. You think that's unfair? It is, and it doesn't matter, because the world doesn't care about your inner truth. It responds to the story you perform, the myth you repeat, the presence you project. So here's your choice. Keep living like a man waiting to be discovered, or start performing like a man they can't ignore. Comment below. What have you been silently hoping the world would notice that you now realize you must command? Here's a truth most men will never accept. You are not seen for who you are. You are seen for what you signal. You may be intelligent, honest, even exceptional, but if your presence doesn't command, your value is invisible. Society is not looking to discover you. It's scanning for dominance, fast, subconscious, brutal. Think about it. A man walks into a room, chin up, eyes locked, silence like gravity behind him. No resume, no credentials, but the room leans in. He looks like a leader, so they treat him like one. Meanwhile, you, more skilled, more thoughtful, more prepared, walk in hesitating, smiling too early, apologizing with your eyes, and the room forgets you exist. Why? Because in a world built on illusion, projection matters more than substance. You think that's unfair? So what? Power doesn't care if you're a good man. It only cares if you act like one who should be obeyed. Need proof? Elizabeth Holmes, founder of Theranos, lied about blood technology. Her product didn't work, but her image did. Steve Jobs-style turtleneck. Deep in voice. Locked eye contact. Media worshipped her. Investors poured in billions. She was hailed as the next visionary, all based on presence. Ali performed with certainty, became more powerful than truth. You think your silence is noble? It's not. It's submission. It's self-erasure. It's playing dead in a world that eats the quiet. Your body speaks before your words ever get the chance. And if your shoulders slump, tone wavers, gaze avoids, you're marked not as kind, but as prey. You are in a war of appearances. And every room you enter is a battlefield. If you don't dominate the perception, you will be devoured by it. The man who understands this doesn't ask for space, he takes it. Doesn't soften his words, he sharpens them. Doesn't ask to be seen, he becomes impossible to look away from. Look at your last week. How many rooms did you walk into hoping not to disturb anyone? How many meetings did you lose before your first word? How many chances did you destroy by being humble? Comment below. What version of you does the world see? And is it killing your future? Because if you don't project power, they will project weakness onto you. And once they do, you'll spend the rest of your life trying to prove what should have been assumed. And by then, it's already too late. The silent law more terrifying than gravity. Assumption, not truth, not proof. Assumption. The world doesn't check your resume. It checks your posture, your tone, your eyes. And if your assumption says, I am just here to be tolerated, the world listens and it obeys. But if you walk in with the silent belief, this room belongs to me, Everything changes. People adjust. Conversations shift. Power repositions itself around you, not because you earned it, but because you declared it first. This is not arrogance. It's warfare, psychological warfare. And the battlefield is every room you enter. Think of Napoleon. He wasn't tall. He wasn't royal by birth. He wasn't supposed to rule. But he assumed his own inevitability. He stood like a general before he was won. He marched like an emperor before the world accepted it. And eventually the world did. Then look at Elon Musk. For years, people mocked him. They said he was reckless, delusional. He smiled and doubled down. He didn't wait for proof. He assumed he was shaping the future and forced the world to believe it. Even when Tesla was broke, even when rockets exploded, he acted like destiny was already on his side. And guess what? Now it is. Because assumption is a weapon, one the weak never touch and the powerful never drop. Let's get brutally honest. You've spent years assuming the worst about yourself. They probably won't listen. I'm not ready yet. They're smarter than me. I'll speak once I'm sure. And every time you thought that, your body obeyed, your presence collapsed, and your chances vanished. Because what you assume becomes how you act. How you act becomes what others perceive. What they perceive becomes your prison. You built it, brick by brick, with every doubt you rehearsed. So now here's the pivot. Stop waiting to be ready. Stop assuming you're the student. Stop acting like you need permission. Assume you're the one, even if you're not yet. Especially if you're not yet. Because assumption triggers a new posture. That posture demands attention. That attention reshapes identity. And identity, that's what rules nations, boardrooms, empires. Rooms you haven't even stepped into yet. So ask yourself, what if you assumed, starting now, that you are the most powerful person in any room you walk into? Not because it's true, but because you decided it. Comment below. What old assumption do you need to destroy before it destroys you? Then say it with me. I don't wait to be seen. I act like I'm already crowned. Because in this world, assumption becomes behavior. Behavior becomes myth. And myth, repeated long enough, becomes history. Let's drop the self-help nonsense. Confidence is not a trait. It's not something you build. It's not something you earn. It's a weapon. You either pick it up or you kneel before the men who do. You think people reward competence? They don't. They reward certainty. The man who stutters truth loses to the man who shouts fiction with full belief. You've seen it. The fool who walks into a room like he owns it and somehow walks out with the deal, the audience, the crown. He doesn't win because he's right. He wins because no one dared to challenge what he projected. That's not confidence. That's psychological warfare. That's power hypnosis. Take Muhammad Ali. Was he the strongest? The fastest? Not always. But he looked you in the eye and said, I am the greatest. Over and over. On camera. In the ring. On the streets. Until eventually, the world stopped arguing. The lie became legend. And then it became true. Or Donald Trump. You hate him? Fine. But understand this. Long before politics, long before reality television, he performed certainty louder than anyone else. No substance, just force. And it worked. People followed the show, not the facts. That's what confidence is. An illusion, repeated, until even your enemies believe it. Let me break it for you. Confidence is not about being right. It's about acting like you can't be wrong. It's speaking slowly, moving deliberately, holding eye contact like you're daring them to blink, walking into every room like the floor owes you tribute, even if you're terrified inside, especially if you're terrified, because the world doesn't test your heart. It tests your posture. You think you'll feel confident once you're ready? You won't. Confidence comes first. Success comes second. That's the rule. Always has been. Always will be. You must move like the outcome is already decided. Speak like your voice bends the air around it. Look at others like they need your approval, not the other way around. Comment below. What would your life look like if you acted confident before anyone believed you? Because let me tell you the truth. The world is not fair. It's programmable. And confidence is the code. You don't feel it. You forge it every step, every silence, every second. Say it again. I am the best. And I act like it. Let's destroy another myth. You don't become powerful by being authentic. You become powerful by being unforgettable. You were told, just be yourself. Let people see the real you. Your truth is enough. But what if your real self looks like fear, hesitation, uncertainty? Then your truth gets ignored and someone else's image gets crowned. Here's the brutal reality. You are not judged by your character. You are judged by your theater. What you show is what you are. Take Steve Jobs. He didn't invent everything, but he mastered one thing: image control, the black turtleneck, the minimal stage, the silence between words. He crafted an identity so clear, people projected genius onto his pauses, even when he was wrong. Or Lady Gaga. Was she the best vocalist alive? No, but she became an icon because she manufactured iconography. The meat dress, the sunglasses, the brutal confidence. Her myth overwhelmed her reality. And that's why it worked. You think that's manipulation? It is. And that's exactly why it works. Because the world is not looking for truth. It's looking for narrative. And if you don't build one, you'll be absorbed into someone else's. You don't have to lie, but you have to edit. You have to amplify what builds power. Delete what is not. Don't show hesitation unless it makes you dangerous. Don't show vulnerability unless it gains you control. Don't show who you are until you know who they need you to be. Your essence doesn't matter until your image dominates the room. Your face is a billboard. Your tone is a logo. Your silence is marketing. And the man who understands this stops trying to be real. He starts becoming the version of himself that bends perception into submission. So here's the mirror. What does the world see when you walk in? A presence? A brand? Or a shadow no one notices? Comment below, what part of your image needs to die so the myth can be born? Because this is the truth. You don't become who you are. You become what you repeat. And if the image is repeated long enough, no one cares what's underneath. The myth eats the man, and the myth wins. Let's call it what it is. Self-doubt is not humility. It's self-sabotage. You think you're being thoughtful, careful, measured. But from the outside, you look like prey. Every pause, every over-explained answer, every maybe I'm wrong. It's blood in the water, and the sharks are watching. Let's break it down. You enter a room, eyes down. You speak, voice low. You sit like you're apologizing for existing. No one will stop you because no one sees you. You've been conditioned to believe that confidence comes after success. It doesn't. Confidence comes before and creates it. Still think you're the exception? Ask Abraham Lincoln. He was called unqualified, ugly, weak-voiced, a joke, but he assumed presence before anyone offered it. He didn't wait to feel worthy. He spoke as if his words were already law, and eventually they were. That's the formula. You don't earn confidence. You declare war on your doubt, and you win by refusing to blink. Let's dissect the disease. Apologizing before you speak, justifying after you speak, smiling to soften impact, shrinking to make others comfortable, waiting for validation before moving. Every one of these is a ritual of self-erasure, and you perform them like clockwork, and you wonder why you feel invisible. You built the script. Now burn it. Here's your new protocol. You don't ask, you state. You don't shrink, you sharpen. You don't soften edges, you sharpen angles. Let the old you die, the nice guy version, the one who flinches first, the one who clears his throat before he speaks, the one who explains his existence like it needs approval. Kill him, publicly, without mercy, because the longer he lives, the more your real potential suffocates in his shadow. And when that weaker version dies, people won't grieve. They'll finally see you, and they'll ask, where was this version of him all along? Answer with your presence, not your words. Comment below, what self-erasing habit will you bury today? Then repeat this like a death vow. I do not apologize for existing. I do not ask to be seen. I act like I've already been crowned. You want to survive? Then you need more than a name. You need a myth. Because the world doesn't remember real people. It remembers symbols, masks, legends. And if you don't craft one, you will be erased. Not killed. Worse, forgotten. You think that sounds dramatic? Good. It should. Because this is not a motivational speech. This is a warning. The man who wins in this world is not always the smartest, the strongest, or the most moral. He is the most deliberate, the most designed, the most unshakably clear. Let me show you Julius Caesar. He didn't just conquer Gaul. He conquered time. He dressed like a god, spoke like a prophet, moved like destiny had already kissed his forehead. He didn't have an image. He was one. Every step was performance. Every word, strategy. Every pause, calculated power. And when he crossed the Rubicon, he wasn't just breaking a Roman law. He was sealing a myth. I came. I saw. I conquered. It wasn't a report. It was branding. And 2,000 years later, you still remember his name. Can you say the same for yourself? If you died tomorrow, what version of you remains? Be honest. A kind guy? A polite man? Someone who meant well? That's not legacy. That's a footnote, at best. To live like Caesar, you must think like Caesar. Not, how do I live? But, how do I architect perception? How do I repeat a version of myself so consistent, so dominant? The world has no choice but to bow. Your myth is your mask, your armor, your invitation to power. So build it. Design your walk. Shape your tone. Edit your message. Curate your appearance ruthlessly. Then repeat, repeat, repeat until people stop questioning and start repeating it for you. Comment below. What myth must you start repeating until the world believes it's true? Because here's the final rule. The world doesn't crown truth. It crowns repetition, wrapped in conviction, forged in blood. So craft your myth now, or watch someone weaker, bolder, less honest rewrite your story while you're still alive to witness it. You want power? Then don't exist, become a legend. Now, the mirror is cracked. The lies you told yourself are bleeding at your feet. You've heard everything. You've been exposed. So the question is no longer, what do I do next? It's, who do I become from here? Because you can't unhear this. You can't walk back into your life pretending you didn't feel the shift, pretending you didn't see the ghost of your weaker self trembling in the corner, begging for one more day of mediocrity. No, this is a line you cross, now, or you stay forgotten. You've seen it play out before, haven't you? The men who wait, the men who hope, the men who read books, take notes, nod politely, and remain invisible, and the men who rise, the ones who carry themselves like kings before anyone calls them one, the ones who move with weight, who speak like their voice bends law, who demand nothing because their presence is a demand. Which one are you? Right now, this second. You think you'll start tomorrow? You won't. That's what the weak say, right before they vanish. Because tomorrow never comes for men who hesitate. Only regret, only silence, only dust. But you still have a window, a sliver of flame. Act now, and you reshape the room before anyone else defines your place in it. Walk forward with this in your spine. I am not asking. I am declaring. Comment below. I am the myth, and I've already begun. Because power does not wait. It watches, it listens, and it chooses the one who dares to act as if he's already chosen. So I'll ask you only once. When this article ends, when the silence returns, when no one is watching, will you rise like a name carved in marble? Or fade like a whisper no one remembers? That answer writes your legacy.